ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ
ਖਾਲਸਾ
ਖਾਲਸਾ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ
ਕੀ
ਜੀ ਕੀ
ਫਤਿਹ.
ਫਤਿਹ
Okay, everyone, welcome to episode 7 of the Brahm Gyan podcast, where we are looking at the wisdom and knowledge passed to us through our elders by Bhai Daya Singh ji and the conversation through the Sadh Sangat, as you're aware. And we're just going to kick it off and get back into it. And we're looking at the wisdom portion, the Brahm Gyan portion today. So, Bhai Sam, you ready?
I am ready. I'm ready and fired up for this one.
All right, cool. Cool, let's go.
Okay, so this is now, we've discussed the Vedant portion, we discussed the Yoga portion. We've also we discussed Gurmat sadhana, like what is the sadhana, right? Like the bhakti, the seva, right? The charity, the mindset you're supposed to have. Now this is the actual Brahm Vidya portion. So it's going to be in 3 parts. So the next 3 episodes are going to be the Brahm Vidya portion. You can actually, as you can take the Aatam Gyan portion of Bhai Daya Singh ji within the Panchvirud, you can make that into a Granth on its own. These 3, you can also make a Granth on its own. So this is basically the Brahm Vidya portion. So we'll go right into it. So in the last in the last episode, near the end, we discussed the 4 sadhans, right? The sadhan chatushte, right? The vivek, the virag, the khat sampati, and the mumukshu, and we went to the depth of that. And then we talked about Gurmat sadhana. So now this carries on from that point. Now, once a person is deserving, right, what happens? So he says, Guruji tests the heart of the Sikh and then deems them wise. Guruji then begins their Brahm Vidya. Now, there's 4 types, which is called Antarang. So we're doing the Antarang Vidya, and don't want to get into the definition of that, but let's focus on the definitions here. So there's Sravan, right? Listening to the Brahm Vichar, Manan, accepting the Brahm Vichar, Nididhyasan, implementing the Brahm Vichar and bringing it into practicality, and Sakhyat, to experience some form of Brahm. This is achieving the achievement, basically. The Prapti is also, right? Achieving this state, one does not drown in the fear of desire. So when you have that state in the 4th, that is where the desires finish. This is also called Chotha Pad as well, as a lot of people may understand it, right? When you discuss the 7 levels of Gyan, right? In the 4th one, there's the Prapti. So we'll go into the first one, which is Sravan. And now Bhai Daya Singh ji says there's 6 types. Now this is very interesting because Gyaniji also taught us the 6 lings of doing Katha. So basically the same things as listening, Sravan. So the 6, what they are, they're called 6 signs of inquiry. By listening, one is determined in the oneness. Sadhguruji considers this the best listening, in which one is determined about the ideology. The first is Upakram and Upsangar, which is the thesis statement and the conclusion. Second is Abhyas Uchar. The third is Apurvata. 4th is Phal, and the 5th is Arthavad, and the 6th is Upatti. And we'll go into the details because this is very important to understand. So now, when you're doing katha, right, or even when you're if you look at sometimes you look into a shabad, right? Yeah. What is first comes up, right? Upakram and the upsangar. The upakram is the thesis. The upsangar is the conclusion statement. So in the beginning of a granth, the beginning statement, the thesis, which will be the key statement discussed in the granth, which is also the ending statement, that is known as the Upakram, Upsangar. Guru Nanak Dev Ji uses this method, and listen to these examples. So he says, Aad Sach, Jugad Sach, Happy Sach, Nanak Hosi Bhi Sach. That is the Upakram. The Brahm was true before creation and before the Yugas. The Brahm is true in the present. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, after the creation, the Brahm will also be true. So he showed the truth before and after creation. In the beginning and end, only the one is mentioned. This is the Upakram, Upsangar, wisdom. So the next is the Abhyas. So what is the Abhyas?
Going back to that, you're saying that the Upakaram of...
Upakram, yeah.
Upakram of Japji Sahib, what would you say that is? What you just mentioned.
Aad Sach, Jugad Sach, Happy Sach, Nanak Hosi Bhi Sach.
And then what would be the Upsangar?
The end of Japji Sahib.
The end, the finishing slok.
Yeah. जिनी नाम ते आया गया मुसक्कत काल नानक ते मुख उजरे के ती छुटी ना.
ठीक है.
right? So this is we're basically living through like that's the whole thesis statement. This is what he said. Ad
Yeah.
Sach, Jugaad Sach, Abhi Sach, Nanak Sach. This is the Brahm. Now, the next ling of the next part of Sravan is Abhyas, which is repetition.
Yeah.
Okay, which is
Drilling over and over. Yeah.
exactly which is deserving of repetition. The Chetana, which is without duality, it is repeated over and over again. The main thesis is described in different ways. This is the Abhyas. When the Japji Sahib, the thesis repeats over and over again. Sacha Sahib Sach Nai. Tapya na jai, kita na hoy. Right? The master is true, and so is the master's name. The master cannot be established nor be done. There are many pauris which discuss the Sat nature of Paramatma. It's repeated again and again, right, to give joy. Now, the next one is Apurupta, uniqueness or originality. Now, you're taking the Sat portion, you're showing how it's unique and original, which is repeated. Examples are given towards the thesis. The Sat cannot be described by examples. The third ling is Apurupta. The Sat is one, and there is no one else like the Sat. Kathna kathi, nan ave tot. Kath kathi, koti kot kot. There's nobody else like it, right? By describing him, the description does not end. You can speak as much as you want, as much as you wish, millions and millions of times. One cannot speak about him. One cannot find the one's end. The one is above the 6 paramans. We'll discuss the paramans. I don't know if it's going to come in this section, but I think if not, it will come in the next section as well. Paramans are basically, there's 6 types. There's a Pratak, which is perception, and then there's Shabad, written word, Anuman, inference, Upaman, comparison, Arthapati, derived from circumstances, Anupalabdhi, proof of absence. Right? So these are basically Paramans, like examples of how you understand things. Right?
And that's what Brahman is, just an example of breaking something down, huh?
Exactly. Right?
Yeah.
And Paramatma is also not the Visha and everything, right? So it's not the Visha of anyone or anything. So the next one is Phal, the fruit or the result. What is being explained, the Atma, the Aatam Gyanis discuss this. The Aatam Gyan is pondered on in the heart at all the time. To experience this in your heart is a supreme goal. Remember, we talk about Athe Pair Japana, Athe Pair Dhyana, right? And it's so funny because I was just speaking to somebody over the weekend, and he was talking about how does bhakti come into your karam, or how do you bring bhakti into your karam? And the first thing that popped in my mind is, you just have to become deet and stubborn to do bhakti. It's never going to, like, there's no amount, we discussed this before, there's no amount of karam that you can do to be eligible for bhakti, right?
It's all good prasad.
It is, exactly. And what is bhakti? Is it even an action? Like when you're admiring a nice scenery, when you're admiring some sort of beauty, a picture, or even like a nice get-up, somebody who's dressed well, or something that looks very nice. Are you actually doing anything except just admiring the beauty? Right? It's just you're just admiring Kalpuruk's beauty. You're just and the way Bhai Gurdas ji says is just picture the Guru's form in your mind, and that's it. Guru Bhakti, and that's all you need to do. Mm-hmm. Right? Think of the Guru, listen to the Guru's itihas, right? Think of the Guru on what they did and how they acted, on what they did in their life. That's Guru Bhakti, and that's all you need to do. It's the most beautiful thing in the world, right? It's the most beautiful thing in the universe. Bhakti, there's nothing in comparison to Bhakti. Bhai Gurdashi gives many examples on how everything has a limitation and how everything has a fault except for Bhakti, right? So, yeah, the Aatam Gyan, where we to experience this in your heart is the supreme goal. He says this is the supreme goal, right? That is the goal to meditate. It is the phal and the prayojan, the fruit and the result. Prayojan means result. What is it? Gurmukh Nadan, Gurmukh Vedam. By the Guru's mouth, the sound of the Shabad is understood. By the word from the Guru's mouth is the Ved. It's a very important thing here. Look how Japji Sahib is explained what does Ved actually mean. Ved means Gyan. Right? So from the Guru's mouth, one is understood. The Guru tells a secret. By doing the seva of the Satguru every day, the Gyan can be achieved from the Guru. And this is like, why would the Guru be happy with you if you do the Guru Seva, right?
And when they talk about Gyan, what Gyan are we talking about specifically?
Of the Atma,
ठीक है.
who we really are. Anytime
which is the Tat of Gyan that we're after.
Tattvalar Gyan is who, the Satachit Anand, and that's who we are, that is the Atma, right? The reason why we're doing Prema Bhakti is to make our buddhi, our mind clear and clean so the Atma can shine through. So we can say, oh, we who are now thinking, we are now doing stuck in desires is not real me. The one who is actually feeling everything, the one who feels that they exist is the actual me. Getting to that point is the actual prayojan, the actual result of all this. Right? Good question. Right? So by doing the seva of the Satguru every day, the Gyan can be achieved from the Guru. The Guru gives mukti by giving Aatam Gyan, right? And the Shabad, the Shabad explains this, what we were talking about. So next one is Arthabad, praise and glorification. And this is where Guru Granth Sahib Ji, like when Shabad comes in here about the Arthabad, or the praise and glorification, this is where a lot of people kind of mistake certain things, and I'll explain why later. What the Gyanis say, what is described over and over again, it is praised again and again. Nanak nirguna gun kare, gunwantiya gun de. Nanak said all the virtues come from the one. The empty one becomes filled with virtues, right? Such the one is not seen who has so many qualities. The one is the greatest Gyani. Whoever becomes the Aatam Gyani becomes high as well. Nobody can give qualities to the one or the Aatam Gyani. Nobody can improve them. The Brahm Gyani and the one are omnipotent and can do what they wish. Everything is in the hands of the Brahm Gyani. Right. Now, remember that example we also talked about where we were talking about Sanak Sananda Mahesh Samana, right? Sekh Nag Tero Marmana Jana.
Yeah.
This is exactly what it's talking about. We're praising and glorifying Akal Purakh, saying that people like Sheshnag, Sanak Sanandan and his other two brothers, and their other two brothers, right? Like Shiv, Vishnu, everybody, nobody can fully sing your glory, right? And I think in the Sadh Sangat is where you can understand these things, right? Of who Ram is, who Hari is, right? And who we are, right? And Bhai Gurdas Ji strictly talks about what is Sachkhand. He says Sadh Sangat. He just puts a period right there. He said Sadh Sangat is Sachkhand. Sadh Sangat should be our aim. I remember I hear some people saying, oh, I go to Sangat and it helps me focus and helps me do better at work, which is perfectly fine, right? But also understand this is don't make the Sangat the medium to being successful in life. Be successful in life so you can go to the Sangat, right? Turn it around because Sangat.
Don't use the Sangat, like use the work and everything else for the Sangat.
I mean,
Sangat is the goal to everything.
Yeah, I mean, it can be used that way, right? The Shabad of a Guru instills you, it builds your focus. And yes, you will be doing. I remember watching something, there was a serial about the Buddha. And after the Buddha he reaches nirvana, right, the enlightenment, he picks up a flute and plays it. And then he says to them, oh, I've realized I've become better at this, right? Because he's now more, obviously, his mind has been killed off and he's now more focused, right? But it's the bhakti will improve every aspect of your life too. But what I'm saying is the Sangat should be your goal for everything, because that is the end all to everything. That is what you should be going to, because that is Sachkhand, right?
And that's where Parmeshwar resides, which is Sangadhar Prabhasiriyo.
Exactly. Right? So because the Guru is there, wherever sadhus get together and sing praises of Hari or talk about the Brahm, that is Sachkhand. Right? That is Sachkhand. And that is the goal of life. There is no other goal of life. We go around thinking we're supposed to become, Vada Admi Bano, Vadi Janani Bano, whatever you want to call it, right? Become successful, this and that. But these are all just man-made goals. Right?
But when we talk about sangat, what is the true form of sangat when you enter sangat? What is that sangat?
Any place where a Santa Mahatma's itihas is being talked about, anywhere where Brahm is talked about, anywhere where the glories of the Guru Brahm or the Guru's Sikhs are talked about is sangat, is satsangat, is satsangat. Guru Gobind Singh Ji makes that clear in the one of the routes. I forget where it is. What happened is one of the Dagi Singhs, the Rababis were doing the Asa Diwar,
Hanji.
and after the War, they sang Gopi Chand Diwar,
Hmm.
right? Gopi Chand was somehow related to Parthri Raja. He had like a similar history with him, where he was a really great king. He had walls of gold. He had like the 300 most beautiful women on earth, like with him, like, as his wives and concubines, and he left everything because he realized that this is not the goal of life. He left everything, went to the jungles and to do bhakti, and then Guru Gobind Singh Ji was listening to some of the things. I guess they were a little bit more strict, and they got up and they're getting mad at the Rababi, saying, "Tusi kachi bani pad li hai."
Hanji.
And then Kalgidhar Basha, he goes, well, what's wrong? They're just singing Gopi Chand Diwar. He goes, do you know who Gopi Chand was? So then he praises Gopi Chand. He goes, there's nothing wrong with listening to or singing praises of any sant or Mahatma that has, reached Brahm Gyan. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, yeah, in this century, we've made more rules that are stricter on that, but essentially that's what Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, right? Of what Sangat it's constituting of, right? So where are you? Okay. The Brahmgyani and the one are omnipotent and can do what they wish. Everything is in the hands of the Brahmgyani. Understand that the Brahmgyani is basically Parmeshwar. It is Parmeshwar, not basically. Is Parmeshwar. So the next one we have is Upati, the demonstration or the proof, what is being described. So what is deserving to be translated, the translations needs to be proved. The doubts need to be cleared. Salahi salahe iti surtana paya nadiyan teva pabe samudana janiya samud sah sultan gira seti maltan. Right? The praises praise the Lord, but they do not obtain intuitive understanding. The streams and rivers flowing into the oceans do not know its vastness. Right? So basically, they're proving right the Brahm's existence. The river is the Ishwar and the streams are the Jeeves. They meet and pour into the ocean. They are no longer called river or stream. There is no longer Ishwar nor Jeev, only Brahm. In this way, the all is Sat is proven. Right? That's how they proved it. Like why is the Aatam Gyan Parmeshwar? I say just like the streams and the rivers, they go into the ocean. Now you can't take them apart. They're the same thing. So there's no longer Ishwar nor Jeev, only the Brahm. In this way, the all is Sat is proven. The rivers become the ocean. The Ishwar and Jeev becomes Brahm. You can try hard, but the separation cannot happen then. The difference cannot be seen. With many examples, Japji Sahib has been written, Upati is proven in this way. Upati is proven in this way. So then these were the lings of Shravan, right? These are also, they're almost pretty much the same, if not maybe a little bit different, but they're taken from they're also discussed in the Chandogya Upanishad in the 8th Adhyay. Guru Nanak Dev Ji has shown this in Japji Sahib, right? Remember the 4 bodies of Shravan, right? Show its importance, right? Sune Siddh Pir Sunat Sune Tarta Valakas, right? So the form of Shravan will be shown ahead later on. The Mumukshu can see forms ahead. The next is Manan. Be accepting of what is said. The highest status is achieved. The mind which is stuck in duality. Be accepting the wisdom. The duality will be, by accepting the wisdom, the duality will be destroyed. So when you accept it, you heard it, we all hear it, but do we all believe it? Right? Or do we all accept it? We don't. If you accept it, the duality is destroyed. The Satchit and Ananda form, the Brahm Atma is without change. The Atma is in the single, unchangeable state. It is not a child nor young. It is not old nor born or dead. It is not unaware. It is not the form of pain. It is the one Atma which does not move. It is beautiful and cannot be described. It is separate from the 3 bodies. Remember the Sthul, the Shuksham, and the Karan Dehi, the 3 Dehi. It is separate from them always. The Atma is the witness form. It's the one that witnesses everything. It even witnesses you witnessing things. So when you're experiencing some sort of sight, taste, sound, right? It's the one that's witnessing you tasting, hearing, everything, right? When the stool body sleeps, so this is he's going into Gyan, he's going to be explaining some things now by Daya Singh ji. When the stool body sleeps on the bed, it looks like it's lifeless. The Atma illuminates the Linga body, the Suksham, in the dream state. It gives energy to see the dreams. Within the dreams, many heavy items are seen, like you see many things in your dream, you see like a whole universe. The whole dream is given energy by the Atma. The Atma is the energy source for everything. And in the Sukopat state, the Ling body becomes lifeless, right? The Jeev Atma becomes illuminated like Indra. Now, Bhai Daya Singh ji gives examples to where he's also going to explain where your consciousness resides in each three of these states. So he goes, the Ling body becomes lifeless. Okay, the both immerse. The Jivatma becomes illuminated like Indra. So think Indra is like the Jivatma. The Buddhi is like Indrani or Sachi, Indra's wife. They both immerse into the heart till the Jeev, Atma, and Buddhi are in the heart. You are in the Sukopat state. So where is the Jeev? When you're in the deep space, it's in the heart. It's here. Okay? When you wake up, the Jeev, Atma, and Buddhi make the whole body alert again. You are in the Jagrat state then. The Buddhi lives in the left eye, right? And Indra illuminates Vishes in the right eye, right? The right eye is where the Jivatma lives in. Remember we were talking about this, like when we're talking to somebody, where do we look? We look into their eyes. Yeah. Why? Because that's where you are. That's where your Buddhi is.
That's where we perceive them to be.
I mean, if you look at it practically speaking, if I really wanted to, I wouldn't want to make sure that you're listening to that. I'd probably take my mouth and go right to your ear, right? Mm-hmm. Well, why don't I do that? I look at you in the face. I look at your eyes because that's where you are, right? And that's essentially what they're talking about. The Jeev and the Buddhi are in the eyes when you're a Jagrat.
What if someone don't have an eye? Like some people like only have one eye, like pirates?
Look at them in one eye? I don't know.
Interesting. They could still live there. They just not. We can't see it.
I guess I've heard that the crows actually their field of awareness is actually only in at one eye at a time. That's why the crow looks like this, and then they transfer over like this. It came up in Suraj Prakash's one too. They're saying the crow actually only looks through one eye at one time.
Wow.
So this is interesting.
No, I was just vicharing that kei sur mein singh hunde that are blind or.
I guess both Buddhi and Jeev is in one eye then. I don't know. It is what it is. Yeah. So when you're in the Jagrat state, the Vishas are experienced again, and they're experienced fully. Remember we talked about the Triputis, right? The eyes, the ears, the 14 Triputis, right? They're all awake at this time, and they're all fully functioning, right? The Vishas are experienced. The right eye is where the Jivatma lives. The Buddhi lives in the left eye. Indra illuminates the Vishas then. Remember Indra, Indriya, senses. Who is Indra? Indra is the god of the senses, right? Indra illuminates the Vishas then. So Indra causes, or the power of the Vishas, the power of the senses, illuminates the actual Vishas, right? The sight, the sound, taste, touch, right? There is no Sukopat or Swapan in state. Obviously, you're not sleeping and you're not deep sleep. For this reason, all three states are an illusion, right? They're not Sat. They're an illusion. They think they're here.
Temporary, they're going to finish.
They're mithya. Because each of them, at one point, aren't continuous. And whatever's not continuous is not Sat. Right? A simple thing. And this is how, actually, we talk about this in Vijay Chandrodaya as well, is this is the reason why we are not Sat, why we don't really truly exist in the Brahm form, in the Brahm awareness form, and why it's mithya, right? So they just proved it here. This thought is spoken about over and over again in the Manan portion, right? This needs to be accepted, that the body is an illusion. So that's basically the statement here. The body is an illusion. Accept it, right? Only the Atma is true. This is what you have to accept. That is the Manan. Now, the Man has 5 vrittis. Now, because Bhai Daya Singh is kind of going back and he's going to expand that a little bit more. The 5 vrittis are the awarenesses. Now, I'm having a conversation with my little brother, Sant Arjun Singh Nirmala, and he was giving me an alternate way to look at what a vritti is. Bhai Daya Singh ji, the way he described it, the way I translated English, I could only put the word as awareness, but Arjun Singh says it's how the mind changes. The state of the mind changing is vritti. So he likes to use that instead of awareness. I'm just want to put both perspectives in front of everybody. I'm okay with both, to tell you the
I
truth.
see that changes because the way people say "birti badalagi," that you're seeing things from a different angle or sight
Right.
or plane now.
In this situation, like what Bhai Daya Singh ji is going to do, he's going to explain that the birti actually goes out of the eye, examines everything, and then comes back to tell you what's happening. And you could see what he says, right? But Arjun Singh was giving us a different perspective on saying that the birti never leaves. The birti stays inside and just the mind changes. But that's another way of looking at it. Anyways, we'll go with this one. So the birti there's 5 birtis of the man. One is Praman, second is Viparjay, then Vikalp, then Nindra, and then Simriti. Okay, so we'll talk about these in different because they're going to really help. Praman, thoughts based on accurate, verified, and true facts about reality. The awareness that comes out of the Antishkaran goes out, the awareness comes out and sees many types of pots, bodies, clothes, houses, cars, other items. The awareness that sees the items, that is the Praman Birti. Okay?
So that's seeing things as they actually
As they are.
Yeah.
Actually. So the next one is Viparjay, the misconception. Right? The Viparjay Birti, when you look at a rope, but you see it as a snake. You see something else instead of what it actually is. So you see in the dark, you're walking, you see like a broken old dried up tree, and it looks like a man with hands raised in the air. Right? That's Viparjay.
Yeah.
Right? You're seeing something that's not really there. Then there's Vikalp, imagination, or what else is verbal delusion. You hear a shabad and you understand the literal meaning, but don't understand its real meanings. You can't understand the connotations or metaphors. So another example is
That's where we live. That's where I live there,
we all live there.
especially when it comes to Gurbani.
Yep. So give an example. Daydreaming about winning the lottery, worrying about a future scenario that hasn't happened, or imagining a mythological creature like a unicorn. It doesn't exist, but you're trying to imagine it, right? The words and ideas exist in your head, but the object does not exist in reality. Like a purple elephant. Well, maybe you can paint it purple, who knows? So then the other birti we have is Nindra, right? Deep sleep, where the Gyan support disappears. That is the Nindra. Understand this, the awareness in Jagrat and Swapan are influenced by Tamogun. Sukopat is Tamogun. That is the Nindra. It is a sleep state by Tamogun, right? The modification of the mind that is supported by the absence of all active conscious thoughts. Remember, in Sukopat there's no thought, right? There's only a Gyan, right? But it's Anandamay. It's pure Ananda. This is where your body gets a full rest and stuff. You know, when you have like a good night's sleep where you don't dream or anything and you woke up in the morning all refreshed and happy, is because you were close to the Atma, that's why. Okay. The next birti we have is Simriti. Simriti is memory. So your mind, remember, you can picture events in your mind, right? That's a Simriti birti, right? Previously, when you experience something, you think of it in the present. When you identify a person you have seen in another place by which the mind thinks, that is called a Simriti, right? It's a memory portion. So those are the birtis. Sorry, go on.
Now I was just thinking about memory and the accuracy of memory and remembering past events. It's all good.
Which is funny, right? So you see how it's kind of fluid, right? It's not really concrete.
Yeah, it's not concrete. It's not fixed.
Concrete.
Like memories can be affected by current day. Like someone could tell you a scenario or some information, and it would change the memories you have about something.
Oh, definitely. I can tell you a lot about elders in my family who will recall certain past events, and we would all be sitting there saying, "No, that is not the way it happened.
Yeah.
you did not, you did not remember it correctly."
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that happens. So then he talks about, he's going on for some other definitions, right? Sthiti, to be calm, right? When the chit is without the five britis, the chit goes towards the Atma form.
And
When
that
the
sthiti
man,
is that inner stillness and calmness.
inner stillness, the calmness, the focus,
Yeah.
right? When the man's awareness flows internally, that is called sthiti, right? So, and that's what he keeps saying, right? Go towards the inside, right?
Yeah.
Abhyas, when the practice to get the sthiti state is done, that is called abhyas, right? And there's two types of abhyases, alap and drid. Alap, so basically when you do it occasionally, ਅਸੀਂ ਕਦੀ ਕਦੀ ਬਹਿ ਗਏ, ਧਿਆਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹਿ ਗਏ 20 ਮਿੰਟ ਅੱਧਾ ਘੰਟਾ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਕੀਤਾ, right? That's called alap abhyas.
Yeah.
And then, somebody who like Bhagat Ravdas ji, Bhagat Kabir ji, or, Baba Buddha ji, they did drid abhyas, right? They were constantly in the phase of just inside, right?
Yeah. And you hear often the elders in the Dal Panth say that we are drir karna. We make sure
Pakka karna.
yeah, like make it permanent, make it unbroken forever.
Yeah, right? So the abhyas that is done with respect, depth, every day, and without ending, that is a drid abhyas. And then now Gurmat Gyan, he's giving the Brahm Vidya now, is what is Viragya. When the love of the Vishas, the senses, is destroyed, that is Virag. And he says there's now 4 types of Virag, and he's going to explain them in detail. There's Yataman, Vitrek, Ikandre, and Vasikar. So listen to the characteristics of these. Yataman is the stage of effort. So the initial conscious effort to restrain the mind and senses from chasing external worldly pleasures. That's yataman. You're trying to control yourself to experiencing senses, right? To see the world as a form of pain, to love the seva of saints, the wish to achieve the form of sat, form of Parmeshwar, the wish to break the bonds of karam. This is yataman vairagya. Right? One does the sangat of saints with this. At this stage, you recognize that material attachments cause ultimate dissatisfaction. You actively fight against your habits, intentionally trying to pull your senses away from distractions, even though the internal cravings are still very strong. Initial stage, basically. You've basically understood that what I'm doing, still feels good. Still want to do that, but I shouldn't be. You're making like an effort, right? You're making an effort to control yourself. The next stage of virag, that is nonetheless virag, is what I'm trying to say, right? This is where when people start saying, I think I need to get ready to take Amrit. I think I need to start going to the Gurdwara more, because I've kind of come to a point where I've delved into these things and it's only given me pain, and I've never achieved what I really wanted to achieve. It seems like it's like the shadow that you can never grab, right?
This is the stage 1, the entry stage.
Stage 1. I mean, you haven't really achieved any avastha at this point, as we can say, but yeah, it is an avastha. It's virag nonetheless.
It's like a realization stage,
Exactly, right. So now this is the first stage of virag. So the second stage is vitrek, the stage of assessment, to think of what qualities and faults I have, discarding the faults and trying to take on qualities that give mukti. One takes on sat and santok in the art. You start, okay, I'm happy with this. I don't need this. You're doing the mental effort. Okay, you know what? What's going to happen if I have another slice of pizza? I'm just going to feel crappy after.
Yeah.
Right? I'm satisfied with 2 slices. I'm good to go. That. So you're doing the assessment thing, right? So discarding the faults and trying to take on qualities that give mukti. One takes on sat and santok in the heart. Lust, anger, and attachment are renounced. You try to basically let them go. This is vitrek vairag. Here you reflect on your progress and separate your attachments into 2 categories: what you have successfully controlled and what still overpowers you. For example, you might realize you no longer crave junk food, you controlled it, but you still crave social media validation. Right? It's uncontrolled. Next one is ikindriya, the stage of one-sensed detachment. After renouncing the body's pleasures, but there is still little desire in the man. The stage where the outer physical senses are mastered, but the attachment retreats into a single eternal sense, the mind. Externally, you are disciplined. Your physical eyes, ears, and tongue do not chase temptations anymore. However, the mind still harbors subtle mental longings, aversions, pride, or imaginary attachments. The urge is entirely psychological rather than physical here. So this is the ikindriya. It's just the man, you're still longing for something there. And then you have the vasikar, which is a stage of complete mastery. The pleasures of vishas in this lok and the next, the sound, touch, sight, taste, and smell, the mind has discarded them. These pleasures are seen as crow feces. Why crow feces? Crows eat feces, and their feces is basically feces squared. So imagine how much of a unwanting thing that would be. So you see the pleasures of this lok all the way to up to Brahmlok. Anything that gives you pleasure, anything that you feel that you want or something, you don't want it anymore. You see it as crow feces. So we're talking about
Crows really eat feces.
apparently they do. I guess so.
I never knew that.
Crows eat, yeah, they're scavengers, right? So they eat whatever they can find. They eat feces, they eat dead people, right? They eat dead carcasses, right? You're looking that up, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go down that thingy, that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I know. Sounds good. Yeah, believe me, when I heard about the whole, crow looking through one eye, I looked that up and I was like, oh my God, that's very interesting. That's why whenever you look at a crow is always like kind of looking like this.
Because do I'm gonna check that. So they look with one eye or only see with one eye?
Yeah, yeah. They use one eye at a time, which is convenient for them any time. They don't like how you look. I guess Indra and Indrani. So so we're not looking at two. They don't look the same way.
Okay. No, I'm just saying that they see with both, but they when they want to really look at something, then they'll
They look with one eye. Yeah.
to get a clearer vision of
I
something.
have to do that too sometimes. Like when I'm looking at my phone, I can't. I have to do this and I have to do that. So
Yeah.
maybe I'm a crow. I don't know.
Mm.
So, anyways, these pleasures are seen as a crow feces. It is like vomit to you. Now we're not talking. Let's kind of think about this. We're talking about Teslas and
Mm.
those muscle cars that we all desire, right? We're talking about the gold and the lavish lifestyles. We see on TV, we see those famous movie stars or those high, big
Yeah.
guys going out to those expensive clubs and meeting each other and talking about $1 million deals and, empires of, corporations coming together and, doing some fun stuff. And you'd see that all as crow feces, right? Just to put it in perspective. You're looking at everything you've ever loved in your life in terms of taste, whether it be other types of pleasures of the body, whether it be other types of, thoughts or, in terms of music, right? You see them all as crow feces.
Like genuinely see them. Like sometimes people like us who ain't got money will look at the fancy car and go, "Le me," but inside there's that thirst for it. This is from a complete mastery. Like there is no thirst for it. There is no other ulterior motive. It is pure.
Exactly. So now the question comes here. The question that comes up is Maya grabbing and holding on to us, or are we holding on to Maya? Are the pleasures holding us, or are we trying to hold the pleasures? Right? Remember some of the Markat Mushti Anaj ki man Baurare. Remember that
Mm.
scenario? Is
Yeah,
how
with the
do
bandar. Yeah.
how do they trap the monkey, right? They take the pot with a small opening and a big belly, and they put it through like the dicot of a tree, and they put some anaj inside, right? And
Mm.
then the the slender hand of the monkey goes inside and he grabs the anaj inside. When he tries to pull it up, because the fist now becomes around, he can't pull it out. So it's us trying to hold on to all the pleasures in the maya of this earth, right? And all we need to do is just let go, and the hand will slip out.
Wow, easier said than done.
Easier said than done, yes, but we just don't do it because we want that anaj.
And where does that come from? The lack of gyan. It all comes down to that lack of gyan of who we are and what we. And when you know who you are, you know what you need, and then you
Exactly.
know what you don't need.
Yeah, and the
So
guru will
it's-
tell you this, right? Just let go of the anaj, you'll be free, or else you're going to be living a very long, you're going to be living a very long life of hardship with a madari who's going to take you to different places and put you on a chair and is going to make you dance around.
It's like Neo in the Matrix when he's trying to jump, and John the Warner saying, "No, there is nothing." He's got to let go of beliefs as well. He's
Let
got to
go of
let
the
go
belief.
of everything, and that's something that's very difficult. We can let go of physical things and relationships. We can let go of Maya in terms of money and certain belongings, but our own self perception of who we are, what we are, and the ego to let go of that is different level.
All right. And so the Vasikar actually was the last type of virag. It said this type of virag that wins the man and establishes stillness in the Atma. The Brahm Gyan rises like the sun. The darkness of Agyan is destroyed. At this point, even when you are directly exposed to the most tempting or volatile worldly objects, no modern luxury pleasure or text triggers a response of craving or aversion within you. The mind remains completely neutral, centered, peaceful, and unshakable. This is the Vasikar Virag.
And this is where Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib's Bani like resides, huh?
Gandhiji always recommends that we do like read Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji's Bani, like everyday part of your Nityanem. I
Hanji,
remember when Gyani Pratap Singh Ji, Singh Sahib Gyani Pratap Singh Ji,
hanji,
Sur Singh Wale, when he came, he brought the gutka of Baba Deep Singh Ji.
hanji.
Baba Deep Singh Ji's gutka had all of the Bani of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji in it,
Wow.
and I was amazed to see that. It was really thick. I guess it was his Nityanem Poti, right?
Hanji.
And so Baba Deep Singh Ji used to do part of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, the full Bani. It was like
Hanji.
from all the way from. I don't know if City Dog has Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Bani. I can't remember now, but yeah, it was basically all. I went through it. It was really cool.
Wow. Was it the actual Gutka Sahib of Baba Deep Singh Ji?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It was a Poti.
That's
He showed
beautiful.
us
Which of the Baniya were in there?
Akal Usad Akal Usad was in there. Chandi Chitar Pehla, Chandi Chitar Dusra,
Hanji.
Chandi Diwar. Uh, the Raras was the same as the Buddha Dal one.
ठीक है.
I can't remember, but I believe there was Arti Arta in there as well. And I can't remember if it was that gutka or another gutka that I saw. It was a Puratan gutka. But
hanji.
you know how we do it now in the Buddha Dal? Like where we
hanji.
do like the Dasambani portion first.
hanji.
So it was flipped. Like the Nasri Mehla Pehla was first, and then the other Dasambani portion came after the
Because that's the
Arti
way the
portion.
same way all the Tarnadals do it.
Yeah,
Baba
exactly.
Butaliye, Vidhi Chandiye, they all do the Aarti first and then the Arta after.
Right, right, right.
Hanji.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I think it was switched sometime in this century.
Hanji.
I'm not really exactly sure, but this because they were saying that the Aarti of the Shakti should happen first,
Hanji.
and I think we that's where we kind of came to flip. But Tarnadal kept it the old way.
Hanji, yeah.
Yeah.
ठीक
So
है. Wow.
we're actually at the end of the eye at this point. The next one is going to be a little longer, so I think
ठीक.
we probably shouldn't start anything now. It's going
Oh,
to
fair
continue on
play.
with Nididhyasan,
ठीक है.
right?
Well, thank you
Any
so
other?
much. And anyone with any questions, just post them in the chat. We'll try and answer them
Yeah.
and just let us know.
Any other things you wanted to discuss from the last time? I don't think we got any questions.
No, I think this Gurmat section like is very straightforward. It's just like okay, learning what things are like. There's a breaking down virag because after many people speak about virag, but no one really breaks it down in terms of the
What is
stages.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's amazing that Bhai Daya Singh ji gave us this.
Yeah. So this one actually out of the three is actually more simpler. The other two are going to get a little bit more intense.
ठीक है, that's
So
awesome.
just want to get everybody ready for that.
ठीक है, looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll do it soon. Maharaj कृपा रखे.
Yes.
But you know what? Thank you, Bhai Sahib.
Oh,
And
thank you very much. Thank you, Bhai Daya Singh Ji, Kavi Santokh Singh Ji, Gyani Sher Singh Ji Maharaj, for helping us come to this point. We really hope this, this is understood by anybody who is listening. It makes a change in their lifestyle, makes a change in their life for the better. it gives them some, peace to their mind. But
And
they
this
could,
and this gyan is vital because it gives you reference points as okay, this is where I am right now. This is the next stage. This is how I get there. It helps. It really does. It makes you reflect very much inwardly, and I think that's important that we take this again to reflect inwardly rather than to show everyone else, look what we know or anything like that, which is common in the world nowadays. But respect and thank you for translating this, and thank you for all this, Bhai
oh,
Sahab. Catch you soon. We'll
definitely.
finish there.
Yes, sir.
Bol chuk maaf karna.
Full
वाहिगुरु
circle.
जी का
Waheguru
खालसा
Ji ka Khalsa,
वाहिगुरु जी की
Waheguru Ji ki
फतेह
Fateh.